Results continue to trickle in, testing nerves and patience.
The opposition leader has had enough of the slow pace of vote counting. This morning, he walked into the results center here in Lusaka, demanding to meet Electoral Commission to raise concerns over the matter. Earlier, he accused the Commission of deliberately delaying the process, a view shared by many.
We have a situation where our PVT shows that basically this thing is decided, and they are delaying to allow the ruling party to create fictitious figures. That's what's going on. So they're creating tension. The ECZ is creating tension in the nation. Simple, straight.
The delay is causing a lot of anxiety in the people and in the affected parties. For example, we are at a loss as to why a system which should ordinarily take 12 hours to conclude is taking days. But this has been happening progressively, and this year it's particularly worse.
The ruling party has dismissed these allegations.
We had a meeting with, which was again requested by President Hakainde Hichilema, the UPND leader, I think the day before yesterday. It was a lengthy meeting. We thought that we had sorted out a lot of other things, but every minute they are coming up with something else. So that's why the problem is, and this is that are trying to be as accommodative as possible.
Zambians are hopeful that the final results will be announced before tomorrow. Sophie Mkwena, SABC News, Lusaka, Zambia.
For more, we cross to our reporter Shingai Nyoka, who is in Lusaka, Zambia. Good evening, Shingai. Now, what's the latest on the vote counting?
Well, good evening to you. More results have started to come in a short while ago. The Electoral Commission announced several more results. So really, as it stands, the results that have been announced stand at 90 constituencies out of 156. It's significantly more than had been announced before, but there's still about 60 or so more constituencies to go. According to those results, the incumbent President Edgar Lungu has extended his lead, and as it stands right now, his votes are at 955,035. His main rival Hakainde Hichilema's votes are at 840,232. So there's probably about 110,000 votes between them. But earlier on, there was a standoff between Hakainde Hichilema and the Electoral Commission. As you heard in that package, he came into this meeting and demanded to have a private meeting with them. Now we have a journalist here, Sydney Mungala, who's been keeping track of those events to tell us exactly what the reason was behind this request for a meeting.
Look, actually, the meeting was precipitated by the fact that the UPND had taken issue with the manner results were coming in. They were saying that the results that were coming in were not verified from the polling stations. They have agents who are supposed to sign hard copies that were supposed to be sent through to the verification center. But some of the results were coming here without being verified. So they were seeking that the ECZ stops releasing results before the signed hard copy form is given to the ECZ. That was the contention, and they had a meeting. That's part of the reason that results delayed coming in at 14. There was supposed to be a briefing at 14 to give an update, but that was suspended, and it was a meeting that took more than 4 hours, and after that meeting we saw the ECZ coming to release the results.
Now, what was the tone of that meeting as far as you understand?
I think the UPND was quite aggrieved in the manner they presented their grievances to the ECZ, and they had agreed that they should not proceed with announcing results from Lusaka, where they claimed that some of the discrepancies were quite huge, and going ahead to announce results would disadvantage them. So there was an agreement that they should stop announcing results from the Lusaka until those issues were cleared. But from our understanding, the UPND has now announced that they will not be part of the verification exercise of the results because the ECZ has not kept to the promise of what was agreed in that meeting.
Now, one of the issues that had been raised was of the G12 form, the form which political parties are supposed to sign at the polling stations to verify the votes. As far as you understand, have those certificates reached the Lusaka polling stations as the Electoral Commission had promised?
I don't imagine that those forms have been reaching the ECZ, because that's part of the reason that we are having these standoffs. The follow-ups that have been made have been that the agents haven't been signing those forms, and now we are like 48 hours after the election. The agents have been away from the polling stations. It's very difficult to track them. So I don't know how they are going to work around this issue, because the agents can no longer, some of them cannot be traced, but announcing of results has to go on. So I don't know how the ECZ work around that matter.
So clearly this will have implications in terms of the announcement of the winner. The Constitutional Court, or the electoral laws of Zambia allow 14 days for objections to be lodged and resolved by the courts. Is Zambia headed towards a contested election? Do you think that will spill over into the courts?
Well, I think for now that remains one of the windows open to the opposition, but I don't think we can rush too far ahead of ourselves. We still have a few constituencies to go before we can begin to speculate about whether this will lead to an electoral dispute, or maybe this will just be an election like any other election. So it's too early to say this matter will go to the Constitutional Court or not.
But clearly the credibility of this election is on the line, given the kind of opposition and the criticism from some of these parties.
Yeah, definitely emotions have been high, especially as we are going towards the end of the results. So we expect that there will be people that will not be happy with the process, while others will be very happy with what is going on. But when we go back to review some of these things, I think we all have to agree that the issue of the G12 form has been very contentious, and the ECZ needed to have addressed it maybe in a lot more simpler way, so that all the parties are happy with the way things are going.
Now, you've been covering some of these elections for many, many years now. One of the criticisms by Edith Nawakwi, who's one of the presidential candidates, is that results are taking longer and longer to release. Last year we saw that, and that before, elections were released within 12 hours. What exactly has precipitated this issue?
I think there were issues arising from the previous election, and this has prompted the ECZ to be a little more stringent in the manner they are conducting these elections. So even the G12 form that we are talking about is part of the reason that was brought forward to try and reduce the disputes around the elections. They wanted to ensure that the verification process was very stringent, so that there are less disputes. So maybe they are paying the price for being a little bit more strict with the manner they are conducting business.
Thank you very much. That was journalist Sydney Mungala giving us an inside track on some of the objections that have been registered by the opposition party. And so as it stands, more results are expected at about 10 o'clock today. 90 constituencies have been announced. So we'll wait to see whether the remaining 60 will be announced at least by the end of the evening. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Shingai. We'll have to leave it there. That was our reporter, Shingai Nyoka, joining us from Lusaka, Zambia, for the latest on those results as they trickle in.